GamerCast Network.
Hey. All right. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
Welcome to the GamerCast Network video game show for Sunday, November 18th, 2007. I'm Chad. This is episode 64, or 8 squared.
Sweet.
Yeah, see, we're progressing very nicely.
In fact, let's only announce the episode numbers when they're multiples of 2. From now on.
Wait, that means we're kind of stuck until episode 128.
Never mind. Let's nix that.
That's like this time next year.
We'll hold off on that. Okay, so this week for the roll call. When I say your name, name the game that you do not want to see re-released on a virtual console, remade in any shape or form. This is like a game you played either now or way back in the day that you knew if you saw it re-released in a virtual console down the line, you'd say, oh my god, why did I play this back then? Or it would tarnish the image in your mind of it. One little addendum right now, it can be a game that they did re-release or remake in some way, shape, or form. Because mine is. And it pisses you off to no end. Okay, joining us this evening is Bob.
Hi. I will choose Xenophobe because I can guarantee that game is not nearly as good as I remember. I remember wasting like $10 in quarters on that. I don't know, for some reason that entranced me at the time, and I'm just going to look at it and go, why did I play this so much?
For the kids out there, this was a 2D left and right scroller that you shot aliens basically all the time. That's all you did, wasn't it?
That's all you did. I liked playing long enough to get the laser gun. That was the best one. Pew, 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 pew.
Next on the list is Ivan.
I think The Legend of Zelda, the original, would be awful, especially with all of the newer versions that have been out and have actually been pretty good. I remember wasting many, many hours of my life playing the original Legend of Zelda, running around with bombs and trying to hit every single sprite on the screen to see if it would open up a hole. I think that would be very disappointing, because one of the first thing that I thought of was Contra, which is available for Xbox Live, and I think I actually made the mistake of purchasing it because I played it for about 10 minutes and said, my god, how did I ever play this game back in the day?
Also joining us this evening is Phil.
Probably say the original Mega Man 1 and 2.
That's a good one, because Mega Man is another one of those games that I remember wasting hours playing.
Yeah, it's one of those classic platformers that probably just wouldn't translate very well today, especially like a 3D game, I wouldn't think.
There are Mega Man 3D games.
I haven't seen them.
Well, the game I was going to say was one they actually did remake. Back in the day, I used to play on the Apple II a lot of The Bard's Tale, which was a computer role-playing game. They re-envisioned it as an action role-playing game. The original one was turn-based. The remake was very, very meh. But the thing was, the original Bard's Tale, you didn't have to be a bard. You could be like a normal party of, your swordsman, your bowman, all the magicians. In the remake, they made you be a bard.
Ugh. Which is the worst class ever.
No one likes being bards.
Well, here was the stupid thing. You had this loot which could summon, like, spiders. I never understood it.
It was just really old. You just pulled it out of the attic, didn't bother to dust it off.
Just shook it.
Spiders. Yeah, when you needed spiders, you just turned it over and shook it.
This week on the GamerCast Network. On Gamertag Radio, the staff finally reveals this year's 3rd Annual Xbox Community Awards 2007 nominees and an interview with members from Gamer Chicks about women in gaming. Uncle Gamer is on break for the holiday, but brings you an interview with Hesper Kidd, the composer behind Assassin's Creed and Kane and Lynch. Achievement Junkie is now being recorded from a secret cave somewhere in Redmond, Washington, where they'll give you the scoop on the 360 and reveal your thoughts on including sex in video games. On Sarcastic Gamer, a member of the crew gets punked beyond belief, plus an interview with Nerve Software about enemy territory Quake Wars coming to the Xbox 360. Check out Podtacular for the latest news from the unofficial Halo universe. Discover the website that brings you all of these great episodes and headlines at GamerCastNetwork.com. That's GamerCastNetwork.com.
Next topic.
We got a voicemail asking us for more coverage on Hellgate.
Somebody actually wants to talk more about it. I thought everyone would be fed up by now.
Hey guys, I'm a fan of the podcast. Really enjoy you guys' commentary and perspective. But I was a little disappointed with the coverage on Hellgate London. You had my mouth all salivating, and then I just felt let down with what you covered on this podcast. So I'm hoping for maybe a little bit more in-depth coverage to let me know whether I want to spend all this money to upgrade my PC to play this game.
If you listen to the mainstream gaming media out there, lots of people are really crapping on Hellgate all over the place. And most of the big problems they're citing are things in the online stuff. That stuff is broken right now, essentially.
I tried to play twice this week. It was one of these things where I sat there, loaded for 15 minutes or whatever, and then crashed.
I wish that they had like a quick load option, like where you could pick a guy and load, because you start the game and it has to load. You have to pick your character and then it loads. And 9 times out of 10, you're at a spot where you know you left a mission where you have to go to some place, and then you immediately have to jump into a portal and load. So there's no less than like 3 load things that you have to sit through.
Like I've been saying, there's too much, loading, or even if something drops, the game will freeze and you just run into a huge memory leak and you just sit there and it just eats up your memory and just, you can't do nothing. And then I had another annoying thing where I fought 4 blue creatures and a legendary in orange, and I dropped all kinds of stuff and I ran out of inventory space. So I portaled back to town, sold what I had in my inventory, came back to pick that stuff up, and like 2 things were left on the ground. So like all my drop and all my loot just disappeared. I was pissed off beyond belief.
Yeah, not a lot of polish on the game right now. It's not really
No.
shined up. It's very obvious that they did not beta test the last 2 parts of the game. I'm a quest completist. When I play a game, I like to actually do all the quests. I don't like abandoning quests. Pansies abandon quests.
That's right.
I even had that quest to kill the shard skimmers. Apparently there's a bug. If you hit this creature and it dies in 1 hit, it doesn't count towards being killed.
Well, that's irritating.
The other annoying thing is there's a mission where you have to collect objects to convert into batteries, and you wind up getting more drops than you need, and they set every quest item as non-destroyable, non-sellable, non-droppable. So if you have extra ones in your inventory when you go to complete the quest, you can't drop them, and you can't destroy them. You can't do anything.
And you can't give them to noobs. You can't trade them away. It's locked to you.
Right.
It's like soul-bound to you.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is either keep them in your inventory or keep them in your storage.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but I did the ultimate dumbass move. Guess what is right next to the analyzer in shops when you go to buy an
Yeah, a
analyzer?
$10,000 clan.
Oh, no.
Guess who bought one of those stupid things? Why would you put that right next to the most important thing in the shop?
Oh, I love the other feature they did too with in Acts 4 and 5 when they tank your frame rate because of all the fire effects.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Not being able to shut that off, that's great. And you can see why I haven't bothered to play it since the last time we played. I'm just waiting for it to get fixed.
The other big issue, I guess, is the subscriber stuff right now. And there really is no point to being a subscriber right now. Those whole 24 character slots, in the next patch they're doing, they're giving that to everybody. And so far, those themed events have not been stellar.
Oh, they've been annoying. I would actually prefer not to be a subscriber so that every time I shoot something, I don't pick up more crap.
Yeah, for the listeners out there, when you get in these subscriber events, you get these recipes, and you have to pick up parts to make bombs and candied apples and potatoes and whatever. And
yeah, woo, baked potatoes. That's really enhancing my gameplay. Baked potatoes. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, but to top that off, it doesn't even tell you what the thing does after you eat it. It just pops up in there, and you're like hovering over it, trying to figure out what it's supposed to do. I mean, if they give you some sort of description, fine, but right now it's pointless.
And these things drop so often, because most of the time I'm just sitting there destroying them, because I don't need them. We do like the game. The gameplay is great, right?
You're right.
Yes.
We love how the game plays, but for all the bugs there are and all the non-worthiness of being a subscriber, I can't recommend anyone play this game right now, at least until they fix everything.
Yeah. Let us know when the beta's over, then we'll come back and play your game.
Yeah.
Good call.
Next topic.
Okay, Mr. Xbox MVP. Let's talk a little fall update.
I actually don't know a whole lot about the features other than the big one is going to be downloading full-versioned Xbox One games. So either go buy yourself a bigger hard drive or clear out the space on your current one, because if you thought you didn't have a whole lot of space before...
Yeah. The initial list of games here for downloadable are going to be Halo, Fable, Fahrenheit, which was an adventure game, I believe, Crimson Skies, Crash Bandicoot, one of those games, and Burnout 3. And these games are just going to be the basic games. They're not going to add anything to it. So don't expect no achievements. They're only going to have the features that came out with the game originally.
I think it's a good idea. I want to say that I'm excited for it because I want to use the feature. However, I've previously made it known that I don't particularly care about backwards compatibility because I typically don't go back and play games that I've owned on previous generation systems. Although this isn't backwards compatibility, it's still going back and playing old games. I really don't see any reason for me to go back and play Halo 1 when I have Halo 3. The one that I thought looked like I might actually try, and I don't know if it's coming out initially, but Psychonauts was on the list. It's one of those infamous games that got like stellar review scores but just didn't sell a lot of units. Stuff that I've heard on forums and things is this is a great idea. Space obviously is an issue. Yet again, they're kind of alienating the previously called core Xbox users, or now the arcade system, whatever it's called. They won't be able to take advantage of this at all. But one of the things that everyone's hoping is now that the ridiculously priced, whatever it is, $150 120 gig hard drive will come down in price.
No, it's not.
Well, it's not announced that it will. There's still hope.
There's no hope. There is never hope. If there is hope, there is no hope. Don't even try for hope.
There's hope, but no, wait. No, there's not. There's not hope.
There is never any hope. And I know MS's explanation for the small hard drive people is, oh, you can always re-download things. Go ahead, feel free to delete.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that when I do this whole digital download thing, I like to back it up, which you can't do.
I like to keep it. Yeah, I don't like to delete.
You paid for it. Mine.
It's not even so much that I don't trust them that I won't be able to re-download it. But, without fail, there'll be like a TV show or something that I have downloaded. I'll delete it to make space. And the one time that somebody's over or I want to watch it or something, I'm like, oh, crap, now I have to re-download it because I deleted it.
Okay, so the other thing about the fall update here is they're going to have a timer on it so parents can limit how much time their kids play on the Xbox 360.
The only reason I could see that being beneficial, being a parent, is if you are leaving your kid with a babysitter. Because if you have to set a timer to turn your Xbox off because you're not the timer, it's more ammunition for the Jack Thompsons of the world out there who argue against things because parents aren't being good parents. There should never be an issue with M-rated games and children buying M-rated games if the parents had a stronger active role in their child's life.
Yeah, but that's the real purpose for this timer, is to have the kids limit their time. Can't you have all the fun things to do in dorms? You on your buddy's Xbox and set a timer on him? And the guy's like playing Mass Effect, or he's playing Bioshock, and he's got like the one last boss to kill.
Oh, that'd be funny as hell. I'm sorry there, Rick. Your time's up. Dude, I just want it. No, Rick, you're done. You're done. Buy your own, man. Buy your own.
Next topic.
Bob, did you ever see Beowulf yet?
No, my dad told me to wait because he wants to see it in 3D.
Now, for those that don't pay attention to films, Beowulf is a new film that is completely computer generated, where they tried to make it look as photorealistic as possible.
Actually, I've heard it's life-altering. Apparently, one of the haters on the internet and one of these sites that we always look at was like, yeah, it's going to suck on where they're doing this, came back and was just like drooling on himself and said how awesome it was. They don't look right. I personally don't think they look right.
Someone compared them to people who drowned.
I remember saying, have you guys seen the preview? I said, there's something wrong with that guy. I don't understand. He looks weird. And that was before I knew that the entire movie was CG. First of all, it proves that it's at least well done enough that I almost mistook it for actors for some live action stuff. But it also does prove that there's something just kind of off about the way they look.
I'd like you to look at this because this chart is funny.
Now, the chart Bob's talking about here, and I'll put a link in the show notes, is about the Uncanny Valley. The chart is showing a person's emotional reaction to something versus how human-like that something is. This particular chart is really talking about robots. And on this chart, there's a line.
The line is like, you have absolutely no emotional reaction to this thing. And anything above the line is like a positive emotional response. So like industrial robot, it's like, oh, look, it's kind of moving around. That's kind of human. Then you go up the chart and you get to like stuffed animal or whatever. It's, oh, little cute little teddy bear. Ain't that nice? Then you keep going to something more human, like a corpse, just like some dead person, not like mangled or anything, just dead. And it's a lot closer to looking human than say a teddy bear is. And because of that, because it's so close to being human, but something's just off, something's just wrong about it, you're going to be like repulsed by it until you keep going more and more closer to a healthy person and you identify with them.
Yeah, and that dip right there, that dip from a positive response with a robot like a teddy bear to negative with a robot that looks like a corpse, back to positive with a near 100% humanoid robot is the Uncanny Valley. It's uncanny in the way that we started warming up to something when it started looking more and more human, and then when it got to a certain point, we stopped liking it altogether. Then we changed back to liking it again once it became 100% human.
And so that's kind of what's going on with Beowulf. They look so close to being human that they're completely repulsive because they're not quite past that point. They sure as hell aren't to the point where you're like, I want this thing in my house. Like, if you showed up and that Beowulf was just kind of like standing in your house, like having a beer or something, you'd probably be freaked out and leave.
Well, I wouldn't, because it's Beowulf. Still, but,
No, computer Beowulf, not real Beowulf, see.
well, real Beowulf is dead and he's a skeleton right now.
That might actually be cooler. If I had like the unearthed body of Beowulf roaming around my house as like a security system, I think it could do much better than that, actually.
So, in video games, what happens to the point when people look almost human? Because we're getting to the point in, like, Crisis, the Koreans look, Korean.
Yeah, but you're shooting them in the face. They're not trying to make you like them, and you're not trying to figure out, like, why is this not right? Why is my right brain, forcing me away when everything my left is going, yeah, that looks pretty human. Yeah, that's good. And my right brain's going, no, get away, it's horrible and evil.
But you have partners in the game, you have allies who do look fairly human as well. He freaked me out. That's why I didn't like him. Huh.
Well, see, there you go. See? You're looking over at him and going, oh, what the hell? What's wrong with you?
Next topic.
No, speaking of movies, on one last thing, go enjoy Hitman next week.
Does anybody want to see that?
No.
I won't even rent that. That's how little interest I have in it. I played the demo of Hitman. It wasn't awful, but it didn't interest me very much.
I was impartial to Hitman. I thought it was an okay game. The first one, I think when they went to the sequels, that's when I got turned off by it. Because the first one was kind of okay. It was interesting. You could choose how you would kill a target. But then they tried to put story in, and stealth became more of an issue in some of the later games. It really wasn't very well done. I didn't like 2 or 3. And the movie looks like, I don't know. The guy doesn't look very imposing to me.
Just about to mention that. Yeah, they could have picked somebody a little, I don't know, meaner.
Yeah.
Looking. I don't know. He looks like he's trying really hard not to smile, He just looks like a buddy or something. Not really, I had a number, it was 47. You hungry? Want to stop by Fridays or something? That'd be great. I'm starving here, man. I mean, these guns are a lot heavier than they look.
He looks like Ryan Seacrest to me, which is kind of freaky.
With like a shaved head, yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, what they should have done is they should have gotten somebody like, I don't necessarily mean Bruce Willis, but somebody who's almost bald. You can tell it's blatantly obvious when somebody has hair and they shave them bald for a movie, because they just don't look right.
He just doesn't look very gruff. I mean, I would expect the Hitman to be a gruff character.
I mean, that's fine. I'm sure through history there have been baby-faced hitmen or whatever. That's fine. It doesn't give you that sense that he is a hitman just by looking at him, and that's what you need in a movie. And yeah, they really should have picked somebody better. He's very young-looking.
Young-looking, yes. I didn't think the Hitman character was supposed to be
Holy
young.
crap.
What?
He's not, though. He was born in 1968.
Really?
Yeah. When you said he looks really young, I thought, how old is 68? Wow, he's close to 40 years old.
Next topic.
Okay, so right now we're going to talk up the game Beautiful Katamari. This is for the Xbox 360. Give us the 10,000-foot view here of what the gameplay is.
I've never played past Katamari games, so I can't really compare it. The gameplay is essentially you're a tiny little guy rolling around a Katamari, which is essentially this suction cup ball kind of thing, and you just roll it around lifelike scenes like a casino or an outdoor park, and you just roll things around and pick them up. It's a total Japanese game. The animation, the style,
it's really
everything. Yeah,
weird.
So when you think, what crazy kind of crap can Japanese people come up with, this is like the definition of that.
your little guy is trying to, like, the hell's he trying to do? Make planets or something?
Yeah.
Stars and all this other nonsense. So he's trying to just gather enough stuff to, like, make a celestial body of some type.
The point of the game is to roll around and reach a target size in diameter.
Yeah, you're trying to get like a meter, 10 meters, 300 meters or whatever. And the numbers seem large when you first start, but you got to remember that, like, your growth's kind of exponential. Like, you'll grow around, get to a size, you'll, like, be able to pick up bigger stuff. And it sounds really lame, but it's actually really kind of addicting for at least 20 minutes.
Are there things here to stop you from growing in size?
The biggest thing that stops you from growing in size is every level has a time limit. So yeah, you start off by picking up little things like coins, and the bigger the ball gets, the bigger things that you can pick up. So there's like buses driving around the city, and you can't pick them up, and if you get hit by them, stuff falls off your ball. But the bigger the ball that you get, you can go back and pick those things up. So in theory, you can get a ball big enough to go back and pick up that bus.
I don't want stuff falling off my ball. I mean, that ain't no good. Yeah. Is there any multiplayer aspect to the game?
There are multiplayer modes. There is a versus mode and a co-op mode. The versus mode is literally split screen. You have two little guys, two little balls. Essentially, whoever gets their ball bigger wins. You can ram into your opponent and cause him to lose pieces of his ball.
So you can hit his ball, basically, and
yeah. I know. I'm sitting here talking, trying not to sound.
You kind of can't say it without, describing the game. Oh well.
The other mode is co-op, where it's essentially two people, one ball, and you have to work together.
Yeah. So two people can work their balls. Okay.
No. Two people work their ball. There's only one ball.
Oh, okay. Whoa, I was worried there for a second. See, if there were multiple balls, that'd be Yeah. Okay. We're clean.
So we had kind of a beautiful Katamari party because I have a friend at work who loves this game. He actually has purchased the soundtracks. We played and we did have a lot of fun. This isn't the kind of game where the multiplayer is as good or better than the single player. It's the other way around. The single player game is much better. I had an issue with, I don't mind storylines in games, but there's an excessive amount of talking in between things. So the premise of this game is you're a prince of some strange planet.
Is it as ridiculous as the first one where he's just talking about nothing? Oh, God.
Yeah. So you're the prince of this planet thing, and the king and queen are your father, and the king is pretty much the guy who tells you what to do. And in between each level, the king is crazy and just starts spouting off about, he essentially tells you what you need to do, but in between he's talking about pretty colors and camels walking on the backs of ants in the middle of summertime on the beach with crabs hanging off of his nipples. It's just weird stuff, and you just kind of want to get through that because it really has no point to the gameplay. Once you get in the game, in the upper left corner, it tells you currently the size of your ball and the target size that you need to get before time runs out. So you really don't even need the crap in between. So you're just sitting there mashing the A button to get through the cutscenes. Big thing that everyone who played had a problem with was the camera angle was kind of obnoxious at times. The controls are both sticks, and it's kind of like tank controls where pushing both forward makes you go forward. Pushing forward with the left and back with the right stick turns you left. So there's really no analog stick to control like camera movement. So if you're rolling this ball around and you're stuck in a corner and you want to look to see where you're going because you're hitting a wall or something, there's no way to turn the camera.
Give us final impressions overall. Would you recommend this game? Would you recommend someone play with your ball?
This is definitely one of those games where if you've never played it, you're going to want to try the demo. If you've played Katamari before, you're going to like this game.
And you can continue to play with your ball.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You're supposed to be the one who stops us from making those kinds of jokes. I'm disappointed in you, Chad. You're supposed to be above that.
Next topic.
Did you want to say anything about Ace Combat at all to follow up from last week?
I didn't give a great review last time because I only played the first mission, played 4 or 5 additional missions. My previous thoughts are still valid, although they're a little stronger now. I really think that if you like flight combat type games, you're really going to like this one. One of the issues that I had before was trying to track down a couple of the enemy planes got to be obnoxiously difficult. further missions into the game, there you had several objectives. You had to destroy, oil tanker things in the ocean and surface-to-air missile guns and buildings and things like that, as well as enemy planes flying around. So there's a little more variety in the further missions. So it's a lot of fun flying at 400 miles an hour across the ocean and shooting missiles at an oil barge in the middle of the water.
And from what I hear, it does look phenomenal. It does look very good. Like, the planes are almost photorealistic.
They really are. And even, flying around as quickly as they are, they still look really good.
Real quick here, the actual main game itself does have a story, as I understand it.
It does, yeah. It takes place in a fictional land. I don't remember the name of the country, but you are being invaded by an enemy country, and you are trying to thwart their attack.
There was a little anecdote I had caught up on here, because the Japanese commercial for this game is very funny, in a way. Apparently, in the story itself, there is a father, a mother, and a daughter. In the story in the game, the father refers to the planes as angels, and I guess when the father would go off, the way the mother would say goodbye to the father was go away and dance with the angels. He was getting his plane taking off. I guess the daughter in the game picked up on this. And in the Japanese commercial for this game, they don't really explain any of that. They just had the daughter telling the mother, I'm going to go dance with the angels. And then I guess in the game, the daughter gets in a bus, and the bus gets blown up on a bridge.
Whoa.
I mean, aw.
Next topic.
Hey guys, I wanted to comment on what you were saying about BioShock. I really think that the only reason people aren't talking about it is because there's so much other stuff coming out. We're going to hear next year when we hear all the best of, and when we start talking about what was the best parts of this year, where they're going to say it all started with BioShock. It was kicked off. BioShock was the first great game we saw beginning of this holiday season, and just continued from there. I think more the topic should be the title like Assassin's Creed that maybe is receiving low review scores, and I wanted to hear what you guys thought about that.
Problem is, no one here's played Assassin's Creed yet, so we can't really talk about the lackluster reviews.
First of all, the video game show is not the show to listen to if you want mainstream reviews and commentary. We're going to play the games that we always play, regardless of what kind of reviews they got or how much hype there was.
That and regardless, we're going to give it a mediocre review because our scale only goes to 9 anyway.
And we weren't really focusing on BioShock. We were just mentioning the fact that everyone was giving BioShock 10s out of 10s, but you'd think a 10-rated game would still be talked about, or at least mentioned. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's playing it anymore. And yeah, part of the reason is because there's so many other good games coming out, but...
No, 10 out of 10. It should dwarf them because it's so awesomely good. Perfection in video game.
Here's one issue I've always had with review scores. When you see a review for the first time, do you look at the number first, or do you actually read the review?
I usually look at the number.
It's kind of hard to avoid. They usually throw it right in your face as soon as you get to the page anyway. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've looked at a review for a game in quite some time. I mean, it's usually we're sitting here talking about games and stuff, and then something's about to be released that I think I'm really going to want to play, and the day it comes out, I just buy it. Because two things. One, the people who review games on these mega sites and all the things that go into Metacritic and all this crap are people who play the game for 4 hours and then do a rating based on that. And it's I generally play the games I buy a hell of a lot longer than that, so I can't trust what they say anyway.
No, and if you read Friday's Penny Arcade, where they pretty much came out and said, this is not a game that you can fly through in 4 hours and give an accurate review on.
And this is Assassin's Creed you're talking about right now.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed. This is not a game like Halo 3 where you can rush through beginning to end and give an accurate review on. This is a game where you have to want to spend time playing it. And here's what I do. If I ever do look for a review to find out something about a game that I just know nothing about, I will go to Game Rankings or Metacritic or something, and I will look at the quote-unquote professional reviewers score, but a lot of times I'll go to the user scores. Those are a lot less accurate because they can fluctuate from everybody who can't stand first-person shooters, so they give Call of Duty 4 a 2, to fanboys who give it a 10 because they love it. But if you read the comments that they make, a lot of times those are more valuable than even professional reviewers because they will
look for the people who can speak English and complete their sentences and look like they're not angry while they're typing. Yeah. Those are usually very valuable and usually pretty accurate. They'll say something like, I'm not a fan of first-person shooters, so I really didn't like this game, but I thought the best parts were blah, 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 and X, Y, and Z. So yeah, those are handy.
A lot of times I don't don't look at the positive reviews, because those are mostly people who love the game for whatever reason and are going to give it a good review.
You kind of have to do like they do with figure skating and gymnastics. Take like the top 10, throw them away. Take the bottom 10, throw them away, and then read what's left, because those are usually about on.
And especially if like it doesn't translate perfectly, but if you go to Amazon or something and there's 1,500 reviews, so I start at the bottom and I see what people have the biggest problems with, and I find out if those are things that I would have an issue with. If it's truly broken, like in Hellgate, then yeah, that might mean I won't buy the game. But if it's something like, this is a game with pirates and ninjas, and I hate pirates, and I can't stand ninjas, so this game sucks, well, that doesn't apply to me, so I ignore that particular review.
Yeah, it's like anything else with the internet. You can't take anything on the internet at face value. You just kind of browse around, read like 30 different things, and piece together what may or may not be reality, like based on the consistencies between those 30 things.
Professional reviewers know what to look for, and they talk to each important thing, but you also have to realize that these people have a stack of video games on their desk a mile long. Some of them are Barbie's Horse Adventures, and some of them are Halo 3. And they have to review them all.
Probably a lot like eating. It's like whatever you played last is going to influence what you just played. So if you just got done spending 5 hours on Barbie's Horse Adventure and then put in Hellgate, I mean, you're pissed at the world to begin with. The chances of a positive score are probably pretty slim at that point.
Video Game Show episode number 64, or 8 squared, for Sunday, November 18th, 2007. So, any Shattered Dream Pies or ham sandwiches to the people of the world that we hate?
Ham sandwiches to the Cleveland Browns for winning off of a completely goofy field goal kick.
Ham sandwich to Chef Michael Simon from Cleveland for becoming the next Iron Chef, which probably matters not at all to any of you, but I was very excited. I watched every single episode of the next Iron Chef, so yeah.
That is not Iron Chef, I'm sorry. That's just Iron Chef in name only.
It's Chef America.
There you go, there you go.
They got Morimoto. Come on.
Oh, and Shattered Dream Pie to myself for forgetting to bring us the Crisis review this episode. I know that was in our promo, but whoops. Sorry, guys. Hopefully next week we'll get to that.
I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, because next time we get together, Thanksgiving will have come and gone. Happy Thanksgiving.
And as usual, send your comments, questions, queries, or concerns to the mailbag at mailbag@videogameshow.org. Skype us at Video Game Show, or call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long distance call, and all normal fees apply. Happy Thanksgiving, and that's a wrap. Good night. Okay, we can end it there. I'm sure I have something I can make out of all that. Somehow. In some shape or form.
You have that power. You can achieve.
I don't want to achieve. I just want things done. I want to magically just, in the next instant, just realize that 2 days has passed and the editing's done. And I can go, I totally forgot that. Like get a hypnotized guy to hypnotize me so I don't forget so I don't remember editing it, and then,
Get a hypnotized guy.
Well,
one of them hypnotized guys. They kick ass.
I hate you all.
I keep one in my larder, a hypnotized guy.
I hate you.
Because I'm just like, hey, today sucked, hypnotized guy. Why don't you go ahead and hypnotize guy me? Yeah.
Go choke on some rage. Okay.
Wow.
I will do my best.